Good morning, folks. Don't I look great? It's been a week. Let me tell you. So, as you all have probably figured out, StacyCarroll.org is down. And that is thanks to IONOS. Now, normally, I don't tell you who I host with, but I'm on the way out the door with IONOS. So now I can tell you that they suck. They've sucked for several years. I'm very, very, very unhappy with them, and I have been for years. But a working website on a host I hate is better than a non-functional website. So as long as the website worked, I was going to stay with IONOS because it is a pain in the ass to port a website. And they know it, which is why they're terrible. But now that the website is actually broken, that IONOS broke it, I can take a broken website anywhere. Because if I have to rebuild it, I'm not rebuilding it on IONOS. I'm sick and tired of them. So let me tell you where this all started. Because I've been really unhappy with IONOS for a long time. But up until a company is so bad that I can't even use them anymore, and this is where IONOS is today, or it started yesterday. Actually, if you were viewing the website regularly, it probably started a couple days ago. But let me tell you what they did a couple years ago. So I had been with IONOS for years, and I don't know how many years, a lot of years. And they, a couple years ago, decided they were going to jack their prices up really, really high for the tier that I had, which was the intro business tier. When I signed up, it was about $60, $75. And this particular tier had everything I needed. The domain name was included, the email was included, SSL was included, and I got some slight customer service troubleshooting help. Well, yesterday, their customer service troubleshooting department, they've likely fired. It doesn't exist. And we'll get into the text of that, and I'll show you where they pretty much said we fired our triage team to fix websites and stuff like that. So yeah, the gist of the conversation yesterday was they fired their support team. You know, the people that actually help customers fix minor repairs on their website. Yeah, that team doesn't exist at IONOS anymore. You're basically talking to a level 0.5 customer service rep that can't do shit. And before you even get to that person, you're going to talk to their AI bot. So, I'm not knocking the person, by the way. The AI bot is freaking stupid. And the customer service reps can't do anything because they're not trained right. So, a couple years ago, they jacked up the price of my website hosting package. And I downgraded and lost a whole bunch of shit that I was actually using. So now all my stuff is a la carte. It costs me about $120 a year to renew with IONOS. And that is too much for what they offer. Because they don't offer any customer service that's useful. They just don't. God, my hair's going nuts. All right. So, so it's gotten too expensive. There's no customer service. All of my crap is all over the place. In separate contracts. But actually, that actually does me good today. Because they're not going to be hosting my website for much longer. They're basically now just storing the files for me because the website's down. And they didn't give me any customer support yesterday. Let's get into that. Let me find that chat log and I'll read it to you because it's absolutely infuriating. So I'm looking for the conversation, but while I scroll through this conversation I had with a AI bot that I have, I noticed a couple things. Now here's what happened, the final straw. IONOS either found or uploaded a hostile file to the website. and then told me about it. So I go in and delete that file. But in the meantime, I find that IONOS has done a lot of stuff to my website that isn't correct. I got folders and stuff in there that shouldn't be there, that are not part of a Joomla installation. So I get the file out, which hasn't done any damage to the machine, because since IONOS did it, they shut it down pretty quick. But, so there's no damage at that point. But in order to try and make sure that this doesn't happen again, I upgraded the PHP. And the problem with that is that after big batches of triage for several hours with a different AI bot, not theirs, I found out that IONOS has a problem. When you upgrade the PHP on their site, they will disconnect the PHP from your website. So then your website doesn't run, because most websites need PHP unless it's just straight HTML website. They'll disconnect that piece of software from your website and it won't run. And this is what has happened to mine. IONOS disconnected the PHP from my website. It is not back. I can reload it. I'm sure it's not back. No, it's not. And here's what happens. They keep the PHP working for about another 24 hours. So when I tested it, it tested fine after all my upgrades and changes and stuff like that to stop them from maliciously uploading shit to my site. So all of that worked. About 24 hours later, they break the PHP, they detach it from the website, and the website is down. And I think I caught it a day after that. So that's the problem. And I run a whole bunch of tests. The site is still intact, but the PHP is broken. Okay. So this is the assumption that we're moving into the conversation with. So I need IONOS to reattach the PHP to the website. And if you don't know what that means, I need IONOS to reattach a piece of software to my website that they removed from it. Okay. They removed a piece of software that my website requires to run. And I'll just read you what my little chat bot said when we were pretty much done with it. And here's the thing. I'm exhausted. I have zero free time, and I don't have any free time to triage this either. It's like everybody thinks I got free time. Comcast keeps breaking the internet and wants to send out a tech. I don't have any time for that. Okay? I can't sit here all day and wait for your tech. They need to be here in the next 5 minutes, and I got to be out the door in a couple hours, or this is not happening. And the same thing is going on for this website. I just don't have hours and hours and hours and days and days and days to fix this. I don't. Those days are gone. I mean, that's just how it is. So, with that in mind, here is what most likely happened. The PHP handler didn't fully rebind to your domain after I upgraded it. That's what happened. IONOS sometimes applies changes in stages, meaning not all at once. So the control panel says 8.2. The front-end node still points to an old invalid PHP FPM protocol. Eventually, the pool is recycled, the PHP stops working, and you get blank output. This is exactly what happened to the website. So, knowing that, let me tell you about this conversation. All right, so I found the conversation. Keep in mind, this is yesterday morning. I got to be somewhere later in the day. So I got about 30 minutes to solve this problem. That's how much time I got to get IONOS to fix the PHP on the website. 30 minutes, and then I got to get ready to go do something else. So, the first thing I start off with is a very unhelpful AI bot. I just love this crap. And here's the problem with AI bots. It's not that they're not helpful initially, but they get stuck in a feedback loop. where their information is coming from earlier in the conversation, not a new source. So if you tell an AI bot that 1 plus 1 is 4, later in the conversation, when you ask the AI bot, what is 1 plus 1, it's going to tell you 4. It will not tell you 3 or 2. My math is terrible too, but 1 plus 1 is 2. And if you tell a chatbot that 1 plus 1 is 4, it will spit that out later in the conversation. And it will not go back and correct itself. In fact, it'll probably double down on 1 plus 1 is 4 because you said it earlier in the conversation. Okay, that's an AI bot. So it's not that they hallucinate, it's that they pull information from earlier in the conversation that is irrelevant or inaccurate. Right? So you really don't want an AI bot triaging your website if you don't know anything about it. So, IONOS bot said, this is when I first pulled up the thing, to support you in the best way possible and improve our service, we process data as part of your request. More details can be found in our privacy policy. This has nothing to do with what I need IONOS to do. I don't give a rat's tail end about their privacy policy. We need to fix this website, and this garbage is not how we start a conversation. So then it says, good morning and warm welcome. Stick that where the sun doesn't shine. And then it's, welcome to IONOS. How may we help? Well, you're not going to help me, but I said, because I've already triaged this, IONOS has disconnected the PHP from my Joomla website, resulting in it being broken and unworking. I need you to fix it. Thank you. We will connect you with the next available consultant. Because they decided to give me something this long, and I said, send me to a human immediately. Because I'm not going to deal with this bot. If I wanted to do all these steps that this bot is doing, mine already told me about them, and I already figured out that they're not going to work. So we're not going to do those steps. Send me to a human right now. So yeah, by the way, if you get an AI bot in any chat anywhere, you can request to speak to a real customer service representative. And they should do that for you if they don't have any. Then if they don't have any, they don't have any, and then you know where you need to do. Drop that company like that. Done. So, at 9:57 a.m. yesterday, Mary D said, hello, and thank you for contacting IONOS. You've reached shared hosting technical support. No, I haven't. I've reached shared hosting not support, but fine. Right. So they asked me my name, and I tell it to them. And she's like, I understand that you have an issue to your website. To my website. Your English is excellent. And you've asked us to fix it. Based on what I see here, current PHP version connected to your site is 8.2. There is no sign of an update on the PHP version. Really? Because I did that 2 days ago. Yes, there was, I said, and it was for 7.4 for 3 of those sites and then 8.3 on one of them. But I upgraded and now it's broken and apparently cannot be fixed. So I need you to reattach the PHP. So to understand, you did update the PHP version and now the site is down. That is correct. And I said, even if I wanted to revert to the former settings, which is what I want to do at this point, because I want to bring the site back up to try and triage it further, I cannot. So then here's where she jumps and says, which means aside from the update of the PHP, you made another version, you made another update to your site, and now you are not able to fix it. No, just the PHP. There were no other updates to the site, just the PHP. And she says, what I can do is set it back to version 7.4. Great, perfect. And then she goes, However, activating the PHP 4 has a cost, meaning she wants to charge me. That version is not free and outdated. So I said, in order to revert back to what my website was running 2 days ago, you want money, which means the site cannot be fixed. And Mary D says, I do apologize. It's the purpose of the charge. To keep using the outdated PHP version, our system and server is at risk. Well, you've put my website at risk. So should I charge you? The amount is for security maintenance and allowing your site to be safe and working while using the PHP version. And I said, if I have to rebuild the site because the PHP version is broke, I won't be doing that on IONOS. We understand that if you don't want to pay for the outdated PHP version, however, keep in mind, this is exactly what's being typed to me. However, you may work on to your developer to make the site compatible to the latest PHP version. I am the developer. What developer is she talking about? I am the developer. And I want you to downgrade the PHP so I can get back on the site and figure out what the hell you broke. And I say that. I can't even get to the site to do anything to it because the PHP version has broken it and you're refusing to fix it. So Mary D is like, and she says, finally, there is a fix to your site. You may reach out to your developer and have the site work on to be compatible to the latest PHP version. Great English there, Mary. I am the developer and the owner. I just state this flat out. I am the developer and the owner. And I can't fix your PHP version. Here we go. Here's the big one. IONOS hosting doesn't do website configuration and modification. I'm not asking her to do that. But this right here tells me that they fired their department. They don't have anybody that can help you do anything. I'm talking to a low-level service rep who can't do anything. So, finally, she starts copying and pasting what I've said and then regurgitating it to me. So she's repasted, I am the developer and owner. She's like, that's great to hear. We understand that identifying the latest PHP version is the cause of the issue and helps clarify why the site is not working. And then she's like, what do you mean by what the heck? Because she's like, we don't have a team to help you. I'm like, what the heck? And I said, the PHP upgrade broke the site. You will not revert it. I can't change it because you want more money and there is nothing that can be done. Am I understanding this correctly? And Mary D says, I understand why it may seem that way and I apologize for the frustration that this situation has caused. Really? To clarify, the PHP upgrade itself did not intentionally break your site based on our findings. Your Joomla website appears to have compatibility issues with the newer PHP version. Buddy, this means that your PHP broke the site. Literally, that is what that means. This can occur when the Joomla core, extensions, templates, or custom code has not been updated to support the latest PHP version. We can activate the older PHP version with the charge. Then, once you are able to log into your site, you may update. Once the update is done, you may request to cancel the old PHP version. So they want to bill me to fix something they broke because they fired their freaking team. At this point, the question of what the hell is wrong with you is valid. We want to charge you for something we broke. I am so tired of this garbage. We want your money, but we don't want to do a damn thing. This is doing anything in modern society. Give me money. Give me. But we're not going to do anything for the money that you've paid us. There are not enough words in the English language to clearly explain how absolutely infuriated I am over this garbage. Nobody provides a good anything anymore. It's all trash. By the way, to give you a comparison, Comcast provides better customer service than this. And Comcast is ranked number 1 officially as the worst customer service ever. IONOS has eclipsed that. They are absolutely terrible, and this exchange pretty much proves it. So here's what I say, and at this point I'm freaking furious. I say, no, I will not be paying for extended support. I just want it put back the way it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Because it took their shit 2 days to break my website. It worked fine when I upgraded it. That's the problem. So I didn't catch it. They did some delayed garbage and then later broke the website. And I go on to clarify, I cannot fix it if I cannot access it. And Mary D says, in all her wisdom, while we may not be able to revert the PHP version in this environment, that does not mean that there are no available options. Okay. I said, what are the options? Mary D said, as given to you, you righteous freaking. We can activate here the old PHP version with the charge, as it is not free to do this. Or I can recreate the website. Look, those are not options. So they want my money, or they're telling me that I have to recreate my website because they broke it. Yeah, we're done. We're done, because if those are the solutions, we're done. And here's the wild part about it. After I did all that stuff, I actually bought some more security features. They were deeply discounted, but it should have cost me $1. IONOS charged me $5 for that $1 thing that I bought to increase the security on my email and to do something else on the website that's security related. So I need to get my $5 back too. And they're telling me that I can pay them or I can recreate my website. If I'm recreating my website, I'm not doing it on IONOS. And I need to get my money back. This lady is nasty. So, I said, I am not paying for a configuration that was valid 2 days ago. If I have to recreate the website, you will lose a 5+ year client. And Mary D says, I understand. So here's the last option. We can refer you to our admin for the site checking if they can at least recover the site admin for you to log in. However, as mentioned, we are not developers here. We can escalate your concern to our admin, but it's not a free service. It'll cost $70 to escalate the problem that they caused. $70. No. So I literally said, are you kidding? And Mary D comes back, no, I am not. I should have ended the conversation right there. Because we're done. This is their idea of customer service. Oh, sorry, we broke your website and pay us to fix it, but we really don't have developers to fix your website. So yeah. So the website is down. And I am working on solutions to get it back up and running. But right now, I have to get my files off of IONOS and onto a different machine. Thankfully, I've got several here. So that's what's currently happening, is that I'm downloading my files onto a different machine. I will do whatever I need to do to get the website back up and running. I don't know what I'm going to do about a hosting provider, but IONOS and us are done. We're done. That customer service is beyond stupid. I'm obviously dealing with I'm definitely dealing with a very greedy company. Gimme, 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 gimme. So here's what's happening with the website. I'm currently in the process of getting all the files off the website and onto another computer, which I happen to have. Then I will triage the website and try and get it back up and running locally on my machine. At that point, I will either turn that machine into a server or I will find another hosting provider. But that is why the website is down. IONOS broke it and they're refusing to fix it. So anyway, guys, there's the rant. I am done with IONOS, and if you have IONOS as a hosting provider, I suggest you move house, because that is unacceptable. That is the worst customer service I've ever had in my life. And we are done. I've got another whole desktop that I may actually boot up and turn into a server. Because to host one website, you really don't need much in way of a machine. So anyway, guys, that's the rant. I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you later, and I will let you know when the website is back up and running, but it's probably going to take me a couple of weeks to figure out what I'm going to do since I can no longer use IONOS. Anyway, guys, have a great day. Have a better day than I'm having.